What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Hove Views, and today I'm going to be giving you a spoiler review for a show that I thought was excellent, but I also want to give you 3 strong reasons why you may not want to watch it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Be a part of the crew where we review movies, we do trailer reactions, we do TV show reactions, we do video game content, even on a separate channel. There's all kind of different things that we cover here at Hove Views, and we would love for you all to be a part of it. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the alerts, and leave comments and let us know what you think about the shows. Now, what we're gonna talk about here today is Peacemaker. Peacemaker was released on HBO Max a few weeks back. It's just wrapping up its first season run, and I thought it was excellent. But I do wanna give people 3 good reasons, like a real quick test that you can test on yourself and see if you should be watching this or if you should pass on it. First question to ask yourself: if you watched Guardians of the Galaxy and you thought to yourself, hey, James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy and I loved Guardians of the Galaxy, I'll watch Peacemaker because it's the same guy doing it. Stop. Do not watch Peacemaker if you love the Guardians. It is not the same thing. Those 2 things really don't mesh well at all. You can see James Gunn's fingerprints on the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise in comparison to the rest of the MCU, but Guardians of the Galaxy is James Gunn with Disney shackles on him. Peacemaker is James Gunn unleashed, and it's wild, very wild. Guardians is tamed James Gunn. Peacemaker is James Gunn roaming free. Second question to ask yourself: if you ever saw those old tweets from James Gunn where it actually got him fired from Disney only to be rehired a few months later, if you saw those tweets and if you were offended by those tweets on any level, stop. Do not watch Peacemaker, because that same type of edgy comedy, that same type of pushing the envelope to make people laugh, that's what you're gonna get with Peacemaker. If you watch the Peacemaker series, there's gonna be several times that as you're watching it, within the first 3 episodes, you're probably gonna say, wow, that's really graphic to show what you just did there. Or you may find yourself saying, wow, that's a mean-spirited thing to say to that person in particular. And all throughout the episode, you're gonna see things that make you say, wow, that's racist. That's super duper racist. Yeah, that's what you're gonna get with Peacemaker. It's real uncomfortable comedy. It's like some weird stuff, some off the wall things. You can just look at the opening of the show. If you've seen the credits that they put out online, it's off-brand, not normal mainstream comedy, and you're gonna get a lot of it with Peacemaker. Here's the best gauge to judge whether you should watch Peacemaker or not. So if you've ever seen the movie Slither from 2006, that is a James Gunn film. If you saw Slither and you did not like it, do not watch Peacemaker, because to me, Slither is like the clearest connection that I can make between a person who doesn't know James Gunn and people who want to watch Peacemaker. Slither, to me, it actually showed its face in a few of the different phases of this show, specifically the last 2 episodes when you get to the big reveal of what things are really happening under the scene. I'm trying to speak in code and not give everything away. Even when you look at Suicide Squad is a story about offbeat characters doing something that is relatively, superhero-y. It kind of fits into the realm of things that people find acceptable nowadays. But when you look at Peacemaker, Peacemaker is a very offbeat story about a very offbeat group of characters doing something that is relatively acceptable, but just in really unconventional ways. And you put those elements together and with James Gunn unleashed, and you're gonna get a project that is not everybody's cup of tea. It's not gonna be something that everybody can jump into. If I'm telling the truth about my personal opinion, I think that the show is great. I thought that this show, Peacemaker, added so much emotional depth to a character that was such a one-note, very small marker in a very good movie in Suicide Squad. You take the Peacemaker character and you give him so much emotional depth throughout the season, and you give him multiple layers of things to work through. You have a great performance from John Cena. You just have a really wonderful group of episodes, but it's covered and like buried beneath all James Gunn's sensibilities. So you get his style of comedy, You get his style of team building, like all that stuff that you see in Guardians. You get that, but it's turned all the way up and it's unleashed and unhinged to be as dirty and as raw as anybody can imagine it being. Personally, I didn't really get into the show until about episode 2, maybe 3. There was quite a few things that was going on within the show that kind of left me wondering, and that wondering turned into like a strong curiosity to figure out, hey, what is exactly going on here? And by the time we get certain reveals, it's like, okay, I'm in, I want to see where this thing goes. But it did take a while for me to get there. Again, a very, very, very good show. It added emotional weight to the Peacemaker character, somebody who's a very small footnote in the DC universe, and now he has a very, very, very large connection to the rest of the world.
You're late, you heads.
I like the fact that even though we showing this guy as kind of the main character with some other side supporting characters kind of being like a 1A, 1B type story, it was cool to see that thing unfold. But the thing that I really like is that he grew emotionally through several different scenes, like showed that this is not just a cold-blooded killer, or this mercenary, this soldier. He actually has layers to his personality, and they were revealed as we watch it. And also, I like the fact that he grew and he also suffered setbacks. You know, just like you don't take all the steps forward, you're gonna have some problems in life. And he encountered his throughout the story, and it left him in a place where, like, yeah, you know, I grew and I moved past this, but now I'm still struggling and dealing with that. Spoiling the show without really spoiling the show, he basically saves the world, but he does it in such a very normal way. Like, Peacemaker comes across in this show kind of like a Batman-esque character, not necessarily like the lurking in the shadows and the peak physical performance that we know, or the very much not the intelligence of Batman, but just the fact that he's a human, he is not indestructible, and he's not infallible, and most importantly, he just has a few gadgets that help him along the way. That's one thing that I kind of connected with the Peacemaker character, that, okay, his love of weaponry and the fact that he's doing this for a reason. Same as Batman, doing things for a reason, even if that reason is actually kind of crazy. Speaking of crazy, I think that there's a lot of great heartfelt moments throughout this show, a show that has a whole lot of nudity, a whole lot of profanity, a whole lot of offbeat, weird jokes. There's a lot of heart to it, but you have to get through all that R-rated comedy, all that weird situation stuff to get the heart that James Gunn tends to put in all of his movies. The bottom line is this: if you can tolerate the nudity, which is not crazy, it's just in a few episodes. If you can tolerate the hyperviolence that is present throughout, and trust me, I have no problem with that. And if you can tolerate the indecent, borderline indecent jokes that you're gonna get throughout the series, then this series is a series that you should watch. And if you can't tolerate those things, then maybe you shouldn't. But I thought Peacemaker was great. I loved it. I'm actually going to be doing a little bit more discussion on the show, talking about one of my characters that I enjoyed so much from the season was Vigilante. Woo! I loved him. I want to talk about my history with the character and the comic book connection that I have with him. And, you know, just do a little bit more Peacemaker content. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come back and check that thing out. Let me know what you thought about this season if you watched it. If you hadn't watched it, am I persuading you to or not to watch the show? Because, you know, I think it was good, but I know for certain it's not for everybody. Anyway, enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.
Go fuck another fish, asshole.
I'm so fucking sick of that rumor.
It's not a rumor.
Fuck you, Barry.